Hey Campbell and friends, I'm at West End Beach out here at Windmill Point, and it's a gorgeous day. The sun is shining and it's beautiful out here. I've been away from the pulpit the past 2 Sundays, but I'm back this Sunday and will be preaching and leading the service. It's a communion Sunday, so keep that in mind. I want to give a shout out to Madison for serving and preaching this past Sunday. I heard great things about the sermon and appreciate her working and serving at Campbell as our intern. We'll have a few more preaching moments from Madison before the intern year runs its full course. This Wednesday again, we're going to have our Wednesday evening. It's kind of a hot meal and movie night. It's a dinner and we invite everyone to come. We're working through some of the episodes of this really remarkable story of the life of Christ that's kind of told through a more contemporary lens. So come and join us. Bring a friend and bring a neighbor. We begin at 5:30 with a hot meal. We see a clip and then we have some tabletop discussion. Tom Coy was with us last week and added some of his thoughts to the series. And speaking of Tom, the Reverend Tom Coy, our parish associate, each Thursday leads a discussion via Zoom on race and reconciliation. We started this group some time ago for people who were struggling to share their experiences around the subject of race and have wanted to continue to kind of peel back some of those emotions and some of those thoughts and to learn more. We're reading books. We sometimes have guests that join us on Zoom. We would love for you to join us. So contact Tom. That's Tom Coy at hotmail.com. This Saturday, our elders are going to have a half-day retreat. Sometimes we look at the big picture of everything that's happening, and sometimes we have to look at the details. And we're going to be having some discussions about the things we hope to be doing and inviting the congregation to engage in this coming year. So be in prayer for us as we sit together in discernment and decision-making. And Sunday, I'll be preaching from the Gospel of Luke, the 5th chapter. This is the story, some call it a miracle story, of when Jesus causes the disciples to dip their nets into the water and there's this overflow of fish, an abundance of fish. Well, the story starts like this. Jesus has been preaching and the people have gathered and they're pressing upon him. He looks out there into the water and he sees that there are 2 boats and they're empty. And he calls out to Simon Peter and he says, "Row me out a bit so that I can speak to the people from the boat." And after his preaching is completed, he turns to Peter and he says, "Peter, row out and let's dip your nets into deep water." Peter is frustrated from a night of fishing in which no one has caught anything. And he yields to Jesus' request. And they row out in the middle of the day and they dip their nets in the water. And the nets are so filled with fish that they threaten to shred the nets. And they call the second boat out, and the second boat dips the nets, and the boats are so filled with fish that they are nearly sinking. And Peter, astounded by this, falls upon his knees and says to his master, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man." Peter realizes he is in the presence of one who is holy and mighty, and he's filled with fear. And Jesus responds, "Fear not, Peter, for to tell you this, you shall follow me, and together we shall gather men and women into the kingdom which is surely coming." It's a beautiful story. It's often thought of as a purely miracle story, but I want to provoke your thinking on it with a few thoughts. If there had been no great catch of fish, this story would have never been included in Luke's gospel. There would have been nothing there to astound or be remarkable. Secondly, when we speak of catching, and sometimes we use this story to talk about evangelism and reaching out and catching people, the idea of catching people, when you think of it as fishing, suggests that somehow we're going to go out there and outsmart others. We're going to lure them in, that there's some manipulation here. So perhaps Jesus intends something different when he talks about how we catch, how we find, and how we gather. I want you to think about that. And the third point about this is to row out and to try to catch fish in the middle of the day. That's not what a fisherman does. That's not good fishing. That's not smart fishing. So why in the middle of the day? The fish are caught during the night time when they come to the surface. In the middle of the day, the fish have gone deep where it's cool in the Sea of Galilee. So what is intended by that? To have such an odd notion to go into the least possible place to try to find fish, knowing you're probably not going to catch a thing. So let that also provoke your thinking, and we will talk more about this and share more about it Sunday at Campbell. Service at 9 and 11. Bring a friend. It's going to be a gorgeous day this Sunday. So show up and come ready to give thanks and see your friends and have a little fellowship time. Until Sunday, take care, look after one another. Goodbye, my friends, and God bless.